Hello, my good people.
Welcome. Guys,
Come on in the room.
come on in the room. Today,
Have a seat. Get cozy. This is a good one.
this is a great one. I've actually been so excited for this one. Not to mention topic-wise, but we have two lovely guests.
Super excited.
Super excited. We'll get to them in just a moment, but make sure to check us out on social media.
What
That's
else?
it. That's
That's
all I
you
got.
want to say?
Yeah, because we say it every time.
Okay. Well, we've got polls, and you
Yeah.
can leave comments and things like that on Spotify.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. And you could take a screenshot of the episode that you're listening to, share it to your story, tag us in it on Instagram, primarily because that's one we like best.
Yeah, we use that one the most.
And yeah, that's probably about it for socials.
Yeah.
Show.
The show shows. Okay, guys, today, first off, I want to introduce our guests. Drum roll, please.
Lovely guests.
The lovely guests, Byron and Susan Dyess.
What up?
Oh, and in honor of having
So special.
so special,
So special.
we have some special news for you.
Yep.
We have a special announcement
Oh, yeah, this is a good one.
in honor of our special guest. Meryl, do you want to go ahead and let the listeners know?
Yeah, what's today's topic?
Today's topic is I got married.
Marriage. Meryl got married.
Marriage.
Woo!
Yeah.
So, yes. Oh, that's a long.
Does anybody
cheer.
here want to testify to the Lord's goodness?
Well, so many
I
of
think
you
that's
have.
on a song from Red Rocks or something. I
It
think
could
it's
be.
Is it?
It could be
I think
Can't
I've heard
remember
it.
the name
Yeah.
of the song.
the for the listeners who've been like,
So Meryl got married.
yeah.
Yeah.
But this is, I don't know if you guys remember.
Ascend. It's the song called Ascend,
Ascend.
by Red Rocks
Oh,
Worship.
yeah.
It starts out at the beginning.
Good job.
Okay.
She brought it home.
Anyway, I had
Got it.
I knew that would have bothered me because if I listen to this again, I'm going to be like, you know the song.
You know it.
You
You
better
know it.
say it.
But for listeners who have been listening for a while, more than a few months ago, Meryl did talk about she was dating.
Right.
That was like a year ago.
It was like a year.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
yeah. Well, first, let's just go all the way back.
All the way.
Yeah.
First, it was like when this thing started, it was like, hey, I'm in the upside down.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, that's been a discussion.
Coming out of the
here.
upside down.
What a ride.
So then
that
it was like, oh, I'm dating, and then you had all these things that you wanted to accomplish with your significant other,
yeah.
and then here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are. Yeah. How
So,
about that?
we asked Byron and Susan to come on today too. So we're just going to talk a little bit about love stories, marriage.
Talk about
But
Love stories. Oh, then why did you invite us?
Yeah. What's
because it's a cool story.
it's a cool story. It's a very
It's a
cool
good story.
But Meryl, do you want to let the people know, like, how did you guys meet? Give some deets.
Okay, so we met. Oh my gosh, was it 2023? Spring of March 2023. Actually, it was. I was out for dinner with some girlfriends for a birthday, and the birthday girl was like, "Oh, I got. I can't believe it. I got us a reservation for a table at this kind of upscale social lounge or whatever." And she goes, I literally texted them yesterday, and it was, Thursday afternoon. And this is a new spot, whatever. It's super popular, whatever.
Lots of people go.
Lots of reservations. So sometimes it's kind of hard to get in there. And she was like, I can't believe I was able to get a party of 8 of us girls, just had it day before or whatever. So we get there, we're hanging out, just kind of taking in everything. And then I saw a couple of well-dressed gents walk in, and they were seated at a table near us. And one of them looked kind of familiar, and I was like, this guy looks really familiar. Oh, he looks like an athlete or something.
Okay.
And then I was doing some Googling, and my friends and I
Maybe
were
just
all
sleuth
kind of
Meryl.
yeah, I know. You want to know something about somebody, just let me know and I'll investigate it. So I was searching, and then I saw a picture, and then I look over and I go, yeah, he wears those glasses. Yep, that's the same person. Yep, okay. So then a few more guys join him and his friend that was there. And I had told one of the girls, I go, mark my words, they're going to send a round of drinks over here at some point. Like, I guarantee it.
She prophesied.
She did.
No joke. They sent a bottle of champagne over to our table like 30 or 40 minutes later.
Wow.
And so then we were all like, oh, thank you, like waving, stuff. And then after a little bit, one of the girls in our party was like, should we go over there and like say thanks? And we were like, yeah, we should probably go do that. And so then my now husband actually had come over, and he, because I guess his friends were like, we should go over there. We should go say hi. And
oh my God.
So he came over and he goes, it happened to be Fashion Week in Kansas City. And he's like, oh, were you girls part of the fashion show? And I thought that was super lame, but everyone else thought it was really cute. And we're all like, and they're all like, no, we were just here for our birthday, whatever. And so then we just like joined them, hung out, we're talking, kind of just chatting with everybody. And then, man, that was like the longest night ever. It was such a late night. But we ended up, there was only like 2 or 3 of us that ended up leaving. And then we went to like the next place with those guys. We're like, heck, why not? Let's just see where the night takes us.
Let's keep going.
Wow.
Yeah. And then we wound up doing after hours at his friend's house, and we're all just hanging out in his basement. And I was then he and I just started chatting, and we were just chatting the entire time. And at one point he was like, could I take you to dinner sometime? Like I've really enjoyed talking with you. And I go, sorry, I'm on sabbatical. I'm not dating right now. he was all
not the shot.
I know. I curved him pretty bad. Yeah.
Hard curve.
Yeah. And then I
Maybe
just
that
said,
made it better though.
I just said, I'm not, it was literally probably a few weeks before that, probably 2 or 3 weeks before that. I was like, okay, God, I see that I should just really not be dating. I need to put myself in timeout. And it was pretty much just, I had felt that that's what I needed to do. And so I was like, all right. So it was kind of just nice because I was in this spot where it was like, now I'm just going to meet people just to meet people. And I'm not putting any pressure on myself to try and figure out if every single guy I encounter is a potential guy to date or whatever.
That's a good place to be.
Yeah, it was great.
It's going. I mean, that's actually what probably happened.
Yeah, I literally just. It was funny because there was a message that I heard from, I can't remember which pastor it was, but it was months and months later. Actually, after we had been dating, they were like, yeah, God often, when he brings our person around, he will usually put them in proximity first. And you may or may not really realize it or whatever.
I have to ask this because y'all made this analogy before.
Yeah.
The does snapping the twigs in the forest.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
He remembers everything, dude.
That was Maria's little...
Well, that was a good because you're like, I'm not putting I'm not pursuing a guy, but I am stepping on twigs out here.
Yeah.
Like, hi.
So, like, notice me over here kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, were you snapping twigs out in but was sabbatical not snapping twigs?
She's throwing the vibe, though. She's always, like, she's got the vibe.
Okay.
I think it was an attractive vibe because it was like because they could pick up on me not being attainable at that moment.
There it is.
Where I was like,
that's the twig. Okay.
Little reverse psychology, maybe.
Right.
But so anyway, I curved him. He felt bad about it, and I was like, I think you're really cool, and I think your friends are cool. Whatever, I really would enjoy your friendship or whatever. And he had also said something about how, because we'd gotten into a conversation about church, and he was telling me that, I was going to a church, and I go to a men's group, a Bible study at this church, whatever. And I don't remember what it was, but he said pretty quickly, like, I'd go to church with you. And I was like, and then he caught himself and he was like, I mean, if that was ever something you wanted me to do. And I was like, okay.
Wait, this the first night?
Yeah. And I was like,
wow.
I was like, okay, yeah, whatever, buddy.
This dude's throwing the line out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
He's like, please.
But then we just we were always friendly. We follow each other on social media and stuff. And he traveled a lot for work, and so it was like my friends and I continued to hang out with his friends, and he would sometimes be there. He and I never specifically reached out to each other and were like, hey, let's all hang out together, or are you going to be there? Yeah, it was just we were hanging out with his friends, and his friends were hanging out with some of my friends and stuff, and then just on occasion he would be like back in town and would show up or whatever. Or if I was with his friends, like I think once or twice, a few times, like I would be like, oh, hey, we're all here. Hope you're having a good time wherever you're at. And then, he'd kind of do the same thing. And then it was probably, we were friends it was kind of like that for probably about, what was it, like almost 10 months. And then it got to, there was a Chiefs game. And then one of our now mutual friends, because I was hanging out with his friends for all that time. And so one of his friends actually had reached out to me for the Chiefs Broncos game that year and was like, hey, I have box seats. Do you want a ticket or whatever? He had called me. He messaged me on social media. I somehow missed it. I didn't see that message until the afternoon, and I responded and was like, oh my gosh, do you still have that? Like, I'd totally go, whatever. And he goes, oh no, so sorry. You need to answer your phone next time I call you. Don't have the ticket. And I randomly thought of my now husband, and so I just texted him because I was like, I bet he has my ticket. So I texted him and I was like, hey, did he get a hold of you? Are you going to the Chiefs game tonight? And he was like, well, hi. No. He was like, no.
Nice to hear from
actually. Yeah. Because I had
quick. That was supposed to be mine.
Yeah. I know. And we were texting back and forth a little bit because we hadn't chatted in a little while. And then the next thing I know, my phone's ringing and it's him. I was like, oh, he's calling me. Okay. So then I pick it up. Then we're just chatting for a few minutes. And he goes, hey, do you, I'm at the office right now, but I'm going to be done here in a little while. Do you just want to go watch the game or something somewhere? And I go, yeah, okay, sure. And then my apartment has had this really cool, courtyard or whatever. And they had a huge screen, and they have watch parties and stuff.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so, yeah, they're free beer and, bring some snacks if you want to share with other residents or whatever, and just come watch the game. So I was like, hey, do you want to come here? I mean, my dog and I are going to watch the game, and if you want to hang out, then sure.
Mm-hmm.
So then he agreed to that, and then I don't remember much about the game. We just sat there and talked the whole time, and it was great. We just were hanging out ever since. But before he had gotten there, it dawned on me that I was, getting a seat ready, had pulled up a chair next to me to save for him when he got there. And then in my mind, it was like, this is not just a friendship hangout.
Oh.
That was just the thought that went into my head, was and I go, oh, okay.
So I have a question. Did you already just decide, okay, I'm coming off a sabbatical, or?
No, it was
just kind of happened.
Yeah, it just kind of happened. It was I was like, yeah, sure, I'll watch the game with you. And then, just kind of chilling. And then I was like, no, this is not a friendship thing. You're not going to put this guy in the friend zone again.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. Well, Lord, I'm on this ride.
Right.
So
Look at you now.
yeah. Now look at us.
Wow.
Maui.
That's awesome.
Nice and Maui.
Nice and Maui.
Yeah. But an interesting note, you guys all know this because we all go to the same church together. But for the listeners, let's see. Okay, so that was October, and we hung out the next night after that game, and then the next night, and then he was out of town, and I literally was starting a brand new job on that Monday or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and we went back out of town, and he was gone for almost 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
So the huge portion of the start of our relationship was long distance.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was really interesting to but it was kind of nice because it gave us that physical separation. So there wasn't really, we were just genuinely, he would call me when he would get done with work for the day, and we would just chat and get to know each other. It was really low stakes, low pressure. And I was just kind of like, well, we'll just kind of see how this goes. And then when he would come back into town, we'd hang out, and it was just a nice time. It just felt really, it wasn't like it was easy because we had a lot of like really difficult conversations, but there was a lot of ease to the relationship, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just felt, everything just sort of felt like it just flowed, and it just went very naturally. And then,
Well, it seems like almost you were in the friend zone because you weren't in the physical zone.
Yeah.
I mean, so
yeah,
that seems like it would be a lot easier.
Which I know we had conversations about like how, like, even though it's hard because it's like, oh, I want to be by this person. But like there is an element where that is so nice, especially getting to know someone of like, we have nothing but to converse and have like heart to hearts to get to know each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the physical aside.
Like
that was
that
at the
will
forefront.
come. Right. That'll be there, guaranteed. But like it's especially even to like desiring like to have that in a good, healthy place of I'm not even tempted by that right now because he's not even here. So I can focus on it was really nice.
Unlike me and Susan.
Tell us a little bit about how you guys got together. Yes, I want to hear it.
Share.
We should probably get through yours first.
You opened that door.
You opened the door.
Yeah, ours was pretty much physical.
100%.
From the get-go.
From the jump?
It was not.
That's true. Well, it was a lot.
Yeah.
I think we did everything the wrong way, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But look at what God did with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy because we were both teenagers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the crazy part when you look back on it, like,
couple of kids.
What?
Yeah.
Why was I even making these decisions?
Like, literally, when Byron asked me for my phone number, I was working at McDonald's.
Let's go.
Where all teenagers usually start out. I was at McDonald's, and he walks in, and he is fried. Like, he's so stoned, I can tell. Like, straight up stoned.
Baked.
Love it.
To the back.
He walks in, and he asked me for my phone number. And I was like, oh my gosh, he's so cute. And so I went over and I wrote down my phone
Something
number.
with that Mary Jane swagger.
I was like, hey, maybe he's a hookup. No.
He's like,
I didn't give it to him. I didn't give him my phone number because I was like, well, he won't like me. Well, because he's short. Okay, let's straight up.
Yeah.
I'm like
a little shorty.
Short king.
I say 5'8.5". I'm probably 5'9", and then Byron's 5'4". So,
Don't forget the half.
Don't forget the half.
But I always liked short dudes. I always liked.
I know you've always said that.
Yeah,
of like
I like their build. They're like a little stocky, you know.
And
so, but I'm sitting there thinking, well, he probably won't like me because I'm like so much taller than him, you know, for real. But yeah, I was 16. My daughter right now is almost the age I was when he asked me for my phone number. Isn't that crazy?
Does that freak you out a little bit?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's absolutely crazy.
And then his best friend and my best friend got together.
Okay.
And they were dating. And they were like, oh my gosh, you should meet this guy. He's so cute, you know, cool, and he's funny and all this kind of stuff. My friend was like, he's cute. And I'm like,
let's go on a double date.
Okay. I was like, but just let him know just as
it's
friends.
It's the friend zone. Yeah.
Just as friends. Because I didn't want any pressure. I didn't want him to think he had to, you know, or whatever. And then we went on a blind date, and I was like, I know this guy. He asked me for my phone number. Yeah.
And I forgot.
Because you were, I mean, you were so.
I was clueless.
Yeah.
I love that.
You were like,
yeah.
You probably forgot.
I forgot about asking her. You know, once she told me later on in life, I was like, oh yeah, I do remember that. Mm-hmm. Because actually, after you didn't give it to me, I tried asking your friend for her number.
Yeah.
Love that.
I can't remember if I got the number or not. But anyway,
no, you didn't.
I was
a man on a mission.
Right. He knew what he wanted.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The friend zone, I wasn't hearing that at all.
No. So we went on a blind date, and it was January the 16th. I love that. I've got all the things. I know all the things.
She's
sorry.
My toes just touched Maria's.
She's
on
got the
accident.
dates.
Yeah, Maryl and I just rubbed toes on accident.
Ew.
Okay, turn my chair.
Do we have to tell
I can't
people now?
unfeel that. Sorry.
I was just trying to relax. Put
Me
my
too.
foot
That's
out.
what I was trying.
Stretch my legs a little.
I was like, this is not the table leg.
I'm kind of nervous. I'm putting my feet under my chair now.
I turned opposite of you, Byron.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
All right, go on.
Yeah.
So we met January the 16th, went on the blind date, and I think probably it was a week later when Byron comes over to my house and he's like, I want to tell you something, but it's too soon.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I'm like, tell me. And he was like, no, it's too soon. I was like, tell me.
So
me.
you
know?
knew.
Oh, I knew.
It was the L word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Did you guys hang out in that week?
I just fell in love with her.
we did.
Okay.
We did. We hung out.
I just wanted to be with her all the time. And I, well, I mean, it was rough. It was a
Yeah.
rough patch.
That is really sweet.
We went, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So keep telling.
I was a virgin.
Okay.
I'm 17 and I was a virgin. Byron, on the other hand, was not.
I was too.
Yeah.
Out sowing some
He
wild
was
oats.
not. And
Susan goes, he was not.
Right.
yeah. And so that's like literally nonstop. The nonstop physical.
Yeah.
Breaking down.
This is what I
the
want.
will.
Yeah.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
At 19, he was just like relentless. And so we dated for
Those
3
hormones,
weeks.
bro.
We dated for 3 weeks and I gave in.
Yeah.
17.
Yeah.
The age my son is right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
17. Yeah.
Peer pressure is real.
Yeah.
It's a
So
very real thing.
Yeah, so we did everything wrong. We were like
Everything wrong.
wild animals.
Yeah,
like the
no,
physical
we're out
was
here.
like straight
there was
up.
no snapping twigs, dude. We were like breaking the bush down.
No. It was like, hey, my mom wants me to pick up some tabs and meet me at the park.
Let's go.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean like
So
because I had a
she had a
1977 Malibu Classic.
Malibu Classic.
Okay.
Oh.
That thing had like king size.
seats.
Space.
Yeah.
Let's go.
There you go.
Yeah, so
So-
it was nonstop physical. Thank God I didn't get knocked up, But
Yeah, I don't
so
know
January
how that
16th,
happened.
so he left and joined the military. He had already decided to join the military before we met.
Well, can I interrupt real quick? Because you
Yes.
said there was a rough patch.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
Or is that, are we missing part of the story? Or
I broke up with her because there was an ex-girlfriend that I thought that we had chemistry with, but she was just playing games. And she was basically, she was garbage. She basically tricked me because I was like, oh, okay, what?
Byron messed around and
I'm
found out.
Yeah, I messed around. And then once that happened, I was like, oh, this is wrong. This is not it at all. And I missed Susan so bad.
Oh.
After that happened, I was like, I've made a mistake. So I went crawling back to her.
Love that.
He
Love
broke up
that.
with me for one day. Like one day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, what's going
like,
on here?
I can't.
Why did I jump
Back
ship?
to Sue's.
Yeah.
One day is like
Okay.
an eternity.
But this
My
is
mom,
before this is before 3 weeks in.
Dang.
This-
Okay.
yeah, this is like 2 weeks into our relationship. He went
Oh,
back with her.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh
Ooh.
no, I was just gonna say that sounds like my mom though. Like 24 hours. She used to say like I just, I knew your dad was the one for me because I couldn't fathom going another day without him. And like she was just that's how I knew. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's 3 days in. Like the third time we hung out, he asked me. We were standing there outside, and he's like, he was having to leave, and he asked me. He was like, "Do you feel it?" And I was like, "Yeah," because I knew.
Y-E-S.
We both knew,
Mhm.
that. And I'll tell you one thing. I was a very, very insecure human. Very insecure. Like before I met him, I had made out with guys and stuff like that, but I had never kissed a guy. Like guys had kissed me, but I had never kissed a guy. Like walked up to
Initiated
him.
the
Right.
kid, right.
Initiated.
Oh.
And so our first date, when he was about to get out of the car because I drove him home, we had split with the other people. I drove him home, and I was like, "Can I kiss you?" And he was like, Yeah, because we'd already been like making out and stuff, you know.
Bring it on,
but we
girl.
were like after like when he was about to leave, I was like, "Can I kiss you?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "I've never kissed a guy." And he was like, "You're lying." And I'm like,
Whatever,
no.
bro.
I was like, I mean, I
Byron
had
was like,
never.
I just had that kiss, yo.
Yeah, I had never initiated, but so I had felt so comfortable, like that first date, that first like it was weird. It was very weird.
Just made sense.
It really did.
Yeah.
I love that.
I love that so much.
But we dated for like 5 months, and then he was gone. He left.
Military.
Yeah. And I saw him for like a couple of weekends over the summer, and then he came home for 2 weeks in October and then 2 weeks in December. And he was,
You actually visited me in boot camp.
yeah.
Too.
17
She went to
years old.
Chicago
Right.
Wow.
at my graduation of boot camp.
Oh.
Wow.
17 years old, and my mom's letting me go be with my boyfriend
Hey,
in
times
Chicago.
were different.
Times
Yeah,
were
that-
different.
Yeah, but no, times aren't different because I would not ever let my daughter go see her. Never.
I think
Never.
people are different.
Yeah. Like I'm very anti dating when you're that young because you don't know. I mean, thank God
Yeah.
that we were both
And
heathens.
it worked out.
I grew up heathen. He was
I grew up Southern Baptist.
his dad was a Baptist preacher.
So
But we were still both at the same like
Spots.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
at that point, I didn't care anything about God.
Mm-hmm.
I knew all the stories. I knew all the scriptures. And I wasn't pursuing
You're
that
like, at all.
Yeah.
I was like, whatever just happened as growing up and the teaching that whatever that was, I was like, I'm free now. I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was more like you did it to just appease your parents and
Yeah. I
call
was
it good.
just playing this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just a straight up heathen. My parents didn't go to church. My mom would take us like maybe twice a year, like Easter.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think twice a year. I think like just once, like Easter, you know. But
Yeah, her mom took her to Blue Lagoon. So that'll just give you.
I was
You've
12
seen
years
that
old
movie?
and I went to go see Blue Lagoon with my mom.
I haven't seen
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, look that up later and see if you want
Take a 12-year-old.
to. Yeah,
No, my mom is a very different human now. People
Oh,
don't
she
know.
is night and day
Absolutely.
different.
Yeah. I mean, God got hold of her, but I mean, like she was into tarot cards and Ouija
yeah.
boards and that kind of stuff. So that's the kind of household I grew up in. But we were both heathens. We, ended up. He asked me to marry him January the 16th, a year to the day, and I was like, okay, no ring, no nothing.
Yeah,
Just-
it wasn't a Hallmark moment at all.
No, it was not.
It was,
I
on
knew
the,
I
called
was-
me on the phone.
Yeah.
it was on the payphone at my barracks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew I was going to get married without a ring first. So it was, we did premarital counseling before we got engaged.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah.
See, we never had premarital counseling.
Yeah. This
We never had any kind of counseling.
this was okay. So this is what's funny though is if he had been my first husband, that's probably what I would have done. If, like as you say, if the Lord didn't get a hold of me, and bring me back, then I definitely probably would have fallen into the same pattern that I did with my first husband. And that's it's funny because I just did so many things differently because I was like, Lord, you're
yeah.
giving me the second opportunity. I'm not going
You've
to
got a
screw this up if it
roadmap.
means anything to me. Yeah, so
Kinda.
it was great. The second night we hung out, I was like, wow, I really enjoyed hanging out with him. I couldn't believe how just comfortable I felt around him. And so he was like going to drop me off at home. And before I got out of the car, I was like, I really had a great time with you, but I really just need to tell you something. So can you just like put the car in park for a second? And he was like,
Oh,
yeah, okay. So then he pulls into like an actual parking spot and he was like, all right, what do we need to talk about? And I was like, I don't know where this is going. I don't know what you think or what you're trying to do here, but like, I'm not going to sleep with you. And you just need to know that. So if this isn't if that's what your end game is here, then we should probably just not hang out because
the brakes on.
yeah, I was like, I just don't want. I am saving myself for my husband, and that is it. I've gone down this road one too many times, and I'm not interested in doing it again. And he, after I was running my mouth for a few minutes, just
You you're just like blurting, like gave him no space.
It was
to
total
talk.
word vomit, and he was just staring at me, just like, and he like blinked a couple times. I was like, okay, like, oh, that's fine with you. Then we can keep hanging out, but I can't do it otherwise.
That's awesome.
And the response?
He was just very chill. He was like, okay. I mean, I've been celibate for like almost 2 years now. And I was like, oh,
okay.
really? And he was like, yeah, I've been, I'm not interested in sleeping around.
Well, that's cool that like you said, you put that out front.
Yeah.
If that's the end game.
Right.
And he was like, well, that's not the end game here.
Yeah.
Yeah, if this is what you want,
No, I'm not your girl.
I'm not your girl.
Not the girl for you.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we definitely didn't have that conversation.
I did. I told you I wasn't going to have sex with you.
Well, you said you actually made a deal with God, even though you're a heathen.
Yeah. I was like,
That I will not have sex. What was the deal?
I wasn't going to have sex until I got married.
Okay, that's no.
because I knew
You
my dad
asked
was gonna kill
God
me.
for a man,
Mm-hmm.
and you said, "I promise I won't do it if you give me the man."
Yeah.
And
Lord.
she got on to me because she said, "You made me break my promise."
Well, I told him, I was like, we're going to get married because I'm not going to hell for you.
Right, that's right.
That's what I told him.
It was like a done deal.
Yeah.
That was the marriage.
May have been a heathen, but she had a moral compass.
I
Right.
did. Even though
Okay.
I didn't
No, but
grow
that's-
up, Christian, I still did. I had a
Yeah.
moral compass.
Yeah.
You know.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good.
Well, anyway, 35 years later.
It'll be 36 years.
That's awesome.
That is
Next
so
month.
amazing.
Next month.
What
yeah.
would you say, like within your relationship? When did you start to notice, like the Lord flip and work on your hearts?
Oh, Lord.
You know what I mean? Because like just even from that perspective of marriage, from where you were to marriage to
Yeah.
what God did with it. Because I feel like, and if you guys have both even just said too, like we didn't do it right, but like look what God
Yeah.
did. So what would you say? Like when did that start to like pivot and
It was her. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because when we got married, all I wanted to do was just I got my mate. Let's just party, just 24. Let's go.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's all it was
Your
on my mind.
BFF?
Let's just
That's
party.
it.
I got my mate. We're friends. We're partying.
Mm-hmm.
And
then,
we did. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I just started feeling like I just kind of felt empty, like
Mm-hmm.
I told Byron we were going to score some weed from this chick.
Yeah, dude.
And I told him, I was like, I don't know. I just feel like I want to be a better person. I don't, because like everybody we hung out with was just like, yeah.
Alcoholics.
And I was just like, I just feel like I want to be, I don't know, like a better person.
Mm-hmm.
And Byron, like, he picked up on that quickly. And he was like, look, if you're talking about God, he was like, my heart is black. He was like, I will never
Said that?
serve God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I will never serve God. And I was like,
say never.
I was like, okay, Satan.
Who's the, yeah.
Joke's
married
on you,
Satan.
Byron.
But to his defense, I was like, let's go to church.
Yeah.
And this was when we lived in Florida. Because remember, we were like, let's go, like, because he grew up Baptist. I was like, let's, go to what you know. And so we went to a Baptist church down there.
Oh, Lord.
And yeah, we left and I was like, not it.
What was
No.
that?
It was, no, but I was
It was
like,
just, it was like an old folks
it was
home.
bad.
like-
Okay, if
It was-
I could compare my experience in a First Baptist church, it would be just like that.
Yeah. That's what it was like. And I was like,
Yeah.
dude, this is,
What's
okay,
This is not
happening?
for us.
you're right. Let's go. And so we partied some more and we
Yeah.
didn't stop. And then there was an experience because after that duty station, we went to be with the Marines and he was out like,
Okay, so wait, let me back up. So
Okay.
in Florida, we
Mhm.
just did we didn't do the,
mm-mm,
oh, really?
No, just
so we're like
Baptist.
Baptist. Oh, okay, that's wrong.
Yeah,
Let's
we're-
just keep, okay.
by God, we're done.
Then we went to North Carolina.
Yeah. And you were out in the field and you called me and
Oh
we
my
were planning a
gosh.
keg party with some friends and he called me and he was like, hey, I got something to tell you. I was like, okay, tell me. And I was like, I got something to tell you. And I started telling him about the keg party and he was like, oh, because I think God's called me to preach.
Oh.
I was like, what? Does that mean we're not going to the keg party this
Right.
weekend? Yeah, we still went to the keg party.
Yeah, we got to, yeah, the
Yeah.
keg.
and still just running from God,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So this is like 3 years in, we moved to Maryland, and we quit
Wait,
drinking.
when was the Pentecostal experience?
This is in Maryland.
Oh, that was?
We're getting to it, Byron.
North Carolina.
I thought it
Byron.
was sooner.
Pump
than
the
that.
No.
brakes, Byron.
Wow.
North
I'll be over if you
Carolina,
need me.
there was North Carolina. There was no church. There was no seeking
Okay,
God.
just-
There was nothing. I got pregnant with Delori
Mm-hmm.
and had Delori when we moved to Maryland. She was 18 months old when I told you the story.
Mm-hmm.
Where we were partying, and I told Byron, I was like, hey, we didn't have anybody to watch Delori. And so I told him, I said, hey, you always get drunk. It's my turn to get drunk. You watch the kid, you know, because she was the little party
Crazy
baby.
conversation.
I
to
know,
have.
right? Isn't it crazy? But
I love
Listen,
it.
I'm going to
I
get
love
drunk this time.
yeah,
It's
You're
my
going to stay
turn.
sober
yeah,
and watch the kid.
yeah.
How dumb.
She was the little party baby. She was always with us because we didn't have anybody. We didn't trust anybody to
Yeah.
watch her. And so we're partying at this house.
I'm surprised she's not an alcoholic.
I'm surprised she's still alive. I'm not
Be
kidding.
honest with you.
Because I'm outside playing volleyball. Byron's inside doing the music, and still I'm a conscious mom. So I go in, I'm like, where's Delori? And he's like, I thought she
you
was with
went
you.
outside.
Even though it was Susan's turn,
Right.
Right?
Well,
Byron.
It was
I-
Susan's
it
turn.
was
It was
Susan's
my turn, you
Byron.
selfish. But he wasn't drunk.
oh
He was
my
just doing the music.
gosh.
Okay.
And so I go looking
you
for
drunk?
her. No, I
Okay.
wasn't. It takes a real whole lot for me to get drunk.
Yeah.
Byron was a 3-beer drunk, so he stayed
Oh, yeah.
drunk.
That was cheap.
Yeah.
Ugh, I wish that was.
$1.50
I know, right?
and I'm in.
Yeah.
It's
So-
over.
So I couldn't find Delori anywhere, looking everywhere. She's nowhere to be found. 18 months. I go back outside, look, no.
Yeah.
I walk around the house, and she was across the street.
Mm.
She had walked across the street, and there was a family that was washing their car, and they had like 2 kids and a dog, you know, the perfect little family over there. And I was like,
Oh my gosh.
I fell to the ground, and I just started, they were holding Delori like, where's this kid's parents, you know?
Oh gosh.
I fell to the ground, and I told Byron, I was like, that's it. I'm done. I'm not drinking anymore.
Mhm.
There was no God at the moment, but there was still, I'm not drinking. I'm done. I'm not going to
Yeah.
be like my parents.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. I want my child to grow up and not have, you know, parents that are drunk all the time. So I decided then I'm like, I'm done, you
Mhm.
know? And then that kind of got rid of all of our friends
Yeah.
because
right.
they didn't want to hang
They're-
out with
they're
us
done.
anymore.
Crazy how that does that.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
Oh,
didn't
you're not
wanna-
drinking? Well, I'm leaving.
Yeah. And so we kind of became an island to ourselves, you know, and we moved to Maryland, didn't have any friends, and we just started reading our Bible.
Yeah.
There was never a moment where it was like, you know, a come to Jesus moment. It was just like we kind of crept into it. You know, it was like we just started reading our Bible and getting closer and closer, you know.
And then because I remember these times too, because you would read something, and because I had this upbringing in the Southern Baptist Church, you would run across a story that I had been quote unquote trained on,
Mm-hmm.
and then she would
Oh.
ask questions, and I'm like, well, here's what this means. Let me, and I that knowledge
so you were
came.
able to.
Yeah,
yeah, so
Oh.
I kind of pulled him in,
Okay.
yeah.
you know. Yeah. And I mean, we didn't go to church
Yeah.
for like what, a year or so. We listened to Christian radio all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
just
did.
kinda
We
grew
did get rid
together.
of all of our secular music.
No
Yeah.
one said the path to the Lord is a
Is-
straight,
Straight. By
and
any
or
means.
comfortable.
It
Yeah.
is narrow.
It is narrow,
Narrow, and it's quite windy
but
from time to time.
Yeah.
goes up and down a lot. But
I mean, but
it's-
I'll have to say the success of our marriage that's it. I mean, it's because of Jesus, and I'm pretty much a saint. That's what I'm just kidding.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, seriously,
Yeah.
it's where I've chosen to forgive. You know, there are moments where I've chosen to love when I've not wanted to.
Mhm.
You know, there are times that I just want to punch him in
Yeah,
the
she's
face.
yeah,
You know, but I
different
think-
human.
Yeah, I mean, we're very different.
Yeah.
We have a lot of the same. We love the same music. We like the same movies. There's so many ways that we're the same, but very, very different.
Yeah.
You know,
And
like
that's
this
good.
past week, I'll give you for instance.
Oh, here we go.
Let's hear
yeah.
it. Ooh, this one's fresh.
I feel very guilty because I was very mean. Byron's he's very calm.
Okay.
He's very calm and he's very easygoing.
That's where D-Lo gets it.
I'm not. Oh yeah, and JC too. I think
Uh-huh.
Bentley not so much. He's like me.
Yeah.
But so Byron calls me, and when I'm working, when I'm doing something, cleaning house, cleaning something, don't mess with me. Don't come up to me. Don't hug me. Don't want me to hug you because I don't want to. I'm doing stuff. You know.
She's
So you-
busy.
Yeah. This is stuff you got to learn.
Yep.
So Byron calls me and says,
What'd you say?
Even after being married 36 years.
"Yeah."
I said, I love shaking that ass.
And
Do you like shaking that ass?
Yeah. He's like, "Are you shaking the S?"
Are you shaking that ass?
And I was like, "What?" And he's
See,
like,
I thought she was saying what, like she didn't understand what I was saying. But she couldn't hear me.
"Yeah." So I turned
So
my
I
volume
kept
up,
repeating.
and he's like, "Are you shaking that S?" And I'm like, "What are you saying right now?" Because I'm downstairs in the garage cleaning the garage.
And I'm like, this is funny. Why is she not getting this?
Like,
"Are you shaking that S?" And I'm like, "What are you saying? What are you saying?"
And then, then I had to explain the commercial that Sabrina Carpenter's in for Dunkin' Donuts. She's shaking that espresso.
yeah.
Have y'all seen this?
Yeah.
She's shaking the S. And then, so I just did that on the surface thinking, that's funny. But then I had to explain it's a commercial. Sabrina, and then so she, don't ever do that again.
I'm like,
Don't you ever call me again with this tomfoolery and hijinks.
I was
And I'm
like,
there's this dark cloud just kind of.
and you could hear it in his voice, dude. He was like, and I'm like, seriously? I said, can I just ask you, please, if you're going to call me and say something stupid, can you just, if I say what one time, can you just say, oh, I'm just being stupid? If you hear me say what once.
So I got to remember that.
Yeah. Put that
I'm
in your
just
pocket.
being stupid. I don't think I'm going to remember because I don't think I'm stupid.
No, not stupid, just saying stupid stuff.
Okay, so yeah. But I don't think I'm saying anything stupid.
He's like, that's hard when I thought I was being funny. Like, I'm not sitting here. That's not coming into my mind that I'm mean.
Okay.
So I feel like I kicked a puppy. You know what I'm saying? Like when I get off the phone, I'm like, dang, I messed up. You know, I felt bad.
Yeah, and I'm over here. I'm at the shop, by the way.
Yeah.
The candy
Okay.
shop. I'm over there fuming like, "Why? How dare you? I'm just trying to be funny and you shoot me down like that. I'm not coming home to the Super Bowl. I'm just going to close at 6. I'm not coming home. I'm just
show her.
I'm going to show her. She's going to be wondering where I am." And then she calls and was like, it was kind of resolved. And I was like, "Yeah, I get to come home."
I was like, I'm sorry. I felt bad.
Oh.
Yeah. But I mean, there's Byron used to call them landmines.
Yeah, those are landmines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is for your new husband.
I
there-
think I've already stepped on some. So
Well, I'm just saying there's landmines.
See, I don't have any landmines.
You don't?
Only Byron
feel
has
like-
landmines.
Well, I think men have landmines. They
Yeah.
have to watch out for
Yeah.
because they just don't know they're there.
Yeah.
You have to step around them. And if you step on one, like
You
shaking
find
that
it.
S, it's going to blow up.
Yeah.
I've definitely gotten a little edgy already.
What?
And
Yeah.
yeah.
No, really?
Okay. His personality is like that of a golden retriever. I
Very
mean,
true.
and not in a bad way, like in the best ways
Like just
possible.
happy all the time? Just
No, it's not that he's like happy all the time. Well, all right. He is a cheerful, like,
He's a cheerful individual.
joyful person.
yeah,
And,
he looks like it. Yeah.
and he just, I mean, the way that he talks to the dog, just everything. He is just a really genial, kind, like bubbly personality. My mother would say a sunny disposition.
Ooh.
That man has.
There you go.
She used to say that about me, but
When's the last time she said that?
when I was a child.
Okay.
What, okay,
That's
so
what to
what
say.
would you say if there's not a sunny disposition? She got a word for that.
I don't.
You're in the nighttime. You're in the nightshade of a moon.
I would
You
use
are
a
a
term.
starlit night.
I
Thank
would
you.
use
I
a
was
term
looking-
my sister would describe her dog, who loved her and was obsessed with her.
Yeah.
Art, rest in peace, Winnie. But she used to call her dog a grumpy cloud, and that's
Okay,
kind of
that's
what,
it.
And I was like, that kind of fits.
grumpy
I
cloud.
tend to be a grumpy cloud sometimes.
Okay.
And he is just a really sweet person.
Sunshine.
Yeah,
Oh.
and very, very different from anyone I've ever dated, and certainly not married before. So I was like,
That
okay, that's an adjustment I'm making. It's like, I also do a lot of like projecting of myself and the way that I prefer to be, spoken to and things like that. I can take harsh comments. I can take people being very blunt with me, and I just naturally assume that people are going to be okay with me doing the same.
Oh.
And so, yeah.
Wow.
And he clearly, because he's a much better person than I am.
Oh my God, I feel like you're me talking about Byron. I'm not even kidding. That's
Yeah,
like,
it's just, I'm like really relating to what you're saying.
The
'cause
blunt
I'm like,
yeah.
instrument.
yeah.
Oh,
So-
that's like literally me.
that you're like that.
But that's
So what
why.
have you-
But that's
so-
why God puts people like that together, because it is. I think that I refine him in some ways. I think that he understands I am a safe space for him to speak very straight toward me and to not have to mince words with me. Or at least I hope that is what I am putting out there. But I know that he is also helping like soften my edges. But Maria's been doing a lot of softening.
Mm.
Maria's been priming me.
Really? You're the
Yes.
fabric softener?
She is.
More like a pre-wash.
Okay, good.
Rinse,
Yeah.
a rinse
she's
cycle.
been a good friend. She's been a good friend, calling me on some of my stuff and been
Oh.
like, "Hey,
Mm.
No, I feel, but in
Yeah,
this-
maybe you should think about this. Yeah.
No, but in the same way too, like we've had conversations of how like and I think this is I was praying about this today actually, where I was like, Lord, what is this like in life? Because sometimes I was like, my personality and I have been this way since a little girl. I just tend to be more like a Mauricio or like a Byron and just more that way. And so like
You are.
see, and it's
you're
one
on the
of those.
golden retriever team."
Yeah,
Mhm.
I am, and it's one of those things that's like, I know that there's beauty in it, and that's like embedded in me for purpose and reason, and I feel like it gives me a lot of compassion for what God will have me
Yes.
do towards people. So like when I see people who have like stronger personalities, I'm like, oh my gosh, or not even to say like stronger personalities, just different. It's like, oh, I love that. I wish I could be more that way. So like my prayer is always like, Lord, help me grow in that, but not lose like this. I say like not even
Golden
like the
retriever.
softness,
Who
but
he
like
created you to be.
yeah, like who you created me to be. Help me grow in some of that, because some of that like I can get better in. Like because
Yeah.
you just typically within that it's like I'd rather just not say anything. I'm all right. Like
Yeah.
versus being like, no, this is the spot to to do this or say this or. Because I'm like, Lord, do I not have a backbone? I've prayed that sometimes where it's like, I know I do, but like, I don't,
I just lean on Susan for
I
that.
have two backbones.
Yeah.
But it's that like, I don't want to not
I
have
think
one.
I grew a steel beam.
Yeah.
Like,
You got rods,
yeah.
adamantium,
But
skeleton.
then it's like, there's times I've struggled too where I'm like, do I not know myself because I don't have that? And it's like been genuine, like, but I know that my personality and who I am is different in that way.
Well, no,
Yeah.
I think that's great, because I think that I'm slowly getting back to her, but I think I lost that part of myself for a really long time.
Mm.
Life just kind of hits you, and you sort of like I know that all of like what you are terming like strong aspects of my personality, they
Yeah.
all come from places of a lot of pain and
Yeah.
like just self-protection.
Yeah.
A lot of it does. And so,
Like armor.
yeah, pretty much. But then it's also at the same time, it's like, if you are going to talk and think this way, then you better be able to take it too, because, and it's just, I've just told myself, like, I'm just getting thicker skin and I'm toughening myself up or whatever, because life has thrown some curveballs at me or whatever. And so that has shaped that. But I think I've lost a lot of whatever it was that my mom used to call me in terms of a sunny disposition. I think, and then, you know, as I've come out the other side of it and I've been healing after a lot of crap, I think there's definitely like aspects of my, like, I can tell I'm changing. I mean, it's,
100%.
If you can't, then you've got some issues, I guess.
Yeah. How long have you been married?
We've been married at this point a month and 10 days.
Okay.
A month and 20 days.
And you dated?
We dated for a year.
A year. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And in the month, has there already been I don't know, something that you didn't notice in the year?
Your broken glass, you mean?
Yeah. Did you flesh everything out in the year, or is it like?
Yeah, we've fleshed out a lot.
Oh, wait a minute! I didn't see that side in the month already.
No.
Or you think that's coming?
Actually, well, I'm sure there's always going to be things that I haven't seen.
Or him.
There's a couple of things
he hasn't seen some things either.
Oh yeah, there's things he has not seen. There's things that he has not seen, and I
wait till
really
he hears
hope,
this.
I
Wait,
really
what are you
hope,
talking about?
Yeah, we
I want to see it now.
We hope that goblin never gets out of her
Praise
cage,
God.
but I definitely, I mean, I've seen some things here and there where I'm like, oh, okay. But in the year that we have dated, there was, I mean, I'll probably repeat myself a little bit because I wrote down like 10 things that I've observed.
These are great
just
things.
about our relationship and things that I'm learning in like since we started dating up through marriage. But man, I observed him go through a lot of things in a very short period of time. And I mean, it was really strange to sit there and go, okay, Lord, I understand why he's going through this. Like, I'm seeing how he's handling a lot of different
just with his
situations.
Life?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just with his life. And it was really helpful in my evaluation, I guess, in, okay, this is what kind of guy is this? If this situation happens, well, a situation like that happened to him. And, you know, just watching him go through different phases. Let me see if I have it written down.
Yeah, like how is he handling
while you're getting that, just
life and, like,
while you're pulling it up, based on Susan and I's story at the beginning, is there anything you relate to the first time around your marriage, the first time, and then this time? Is it completely black and white?
It's completely black and white. Completely different. Just, yeah.
Even though there had to be an aspect of we're in love the first time. That had to be there, right?
With my first marriage with my ex-husband?
I mean, that had to be there, right, unless once you get married. Oh, boy. Okay.
Well, I think I thought that I loved him.
Okay.
But I don't think I understood what that was because I wound up compromising a lot of things with myself and just, I mean, like, I lost my virginity to my ex-husband. And the reason why I did that was because I literally had a thought one day, like, he's going to leave just like everybody else. And because I had gone through a series of boyfriends where part of it was me breaking up with them so that we didn't have to have the conversation. But there were several guys that I had dated where it was just like, I'm not going to wait for you to be ready to have sex. This is my thing. This is what I do. This is how I bond and how I connect with the person that I am with, blah, blah, blah. This is how, and I'm like, okay, cool. Well, then that's it. And it was just like, with my ex-husband, it was the same kind of thought that it was like, you're going to do it. So you just do it. Otherwise you're going to be single forever pretty much.
Oh, wow.
And so that was like one of the things that I compromised. And that was a big mistake, but you know, you learn from it.
Okay.
yeah, this is completely different because everything was just, that was one of the first things that I said that I,
Yeah. Do you want to read through
Are
your
you
list?
pulling up your 10 here?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think these are great.
So the first one was just, and I had kind of talked about this a little bit, but it was like drawing boundaries at the start saved a lot of headache and awkward and uncomfortable conversations or lack thereof. Because if I brought it up, like anything that I would have thought, a lot of times this is something that I did with while dating my husband, but using my previous marriage, I used to keep my mouth shut about this. You have to talk about it now.
Oh.
You didn't do this there. You have to do it here because you can't do what you did then because that didn't work out well. So you have to do basically the opposite of everything.
That's
there.
crazy.
Yeah.
Well, not crazy, but
It was wild.
that's,
wild,
that you can like just, you got the,
Yeah.
like I said, the roadmap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I guess number 2 was, there it is. Have the uncomfortable, awkward, deep conversations at the beginning. And then I just said, like, no one cares what the other person's favorite color is. It doesn't have any bearing on your analysis on their potential to be a good
Why is
partner.
that funny?
What's your favorite color?
I don't know. What's
Do you know
your
Susan's favorite color?
Yeah, it's black.
If you're not allowed to pick black or a neutral tone, what is it?
Ooh.
Oh, wow. She went to another level.
Are you wanting me to answer that?
Yeah.
Oh, I would have to say probably I like pink and purple.
Okay.
I thought you were going to go
There she goes.
crimson.
Yeah. Well, I
thought that's what you were
bleed
gonna say.
crimson. That has nothing to do with it.
Mauricio and I both say black is our favorite color, and then green is our not black color that we
Oh,
both like.
green is so ugly.
No, it's not.
I
Green's
don't
a
like
fave.
green. I don't like green.
What's
There's
my
a lot of
favorite
really
color?
pretty
What's yours?
shades.
Who cares?
Wow. Yeah, nobody
just kidding.
cares.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Third-
No, I'm gonna say blue.
Yeah, I kind of like that color right behind you. That
Yeah,
little-
the teal
Yeah.
kind
You
of.
know,
That's
I
kinda like-
thought that would be a response because there's a lot of it in this room.
There is.
Yeah.
And your, let's get to the bottom of this logo is blue.
Mhm.
That's true.
Yeah, true.
Wow. It just comes out of the psyche.
Oh,
But, yeah.
here was another one that I really liked, and I told a friend of mine this. If I looked at Mauricio as he is right now in this season of life, and I don't see marriage potential, then I don't have any business dating him, and should release him back to the streets.
Wow.
And this one with my husband, different.
Dude, whoever's listening, y'all need to be writing this down.
I told that to a
Take
friend of mine.
notes.
I was like, I know this sounds extreme, but I have learned you have to kind of get extreme. If you don't want to go through something like I've gone through, which is a very painful divorce, and the way that it came about was really awful, and I wouldn't recommend it, and I wouldn't put that on anybody. Not even my worst enemy. I wouldn't wish that upon them.
This is great.
It's
Susan
miserable.
always does this with like whoever, or that's not the guy, or
Yeah.
that's not the girl.
Mm-hmm.
I already know this.
Not
That's
it.
not it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think that
It's not marriage
I think that a
potential.
lot of times we see good aspects in a person.
Yeah.
I know a lot of women do this. I talk with this about this with a lot of my girlfriends, but it's like we see the good aspects of a guy and then we see the potential that he has, but we ignore exactly where he's at right now. And I think we do ourselves a disservice if we don't pay attention to where he's at right now, because what if he doesn't go anywhere from where he's at right now? Are you okay with that? Like, what's going on there that,
Yeah.
because what if something happens and that's where he's at and that's where he's going to be for the next 50 years?
Yeah.
We're-
No, it's very valid.
I feel kind of bad because we didn't get to do any of these things here.
Right.
I wasn't
was
thinking
robbed.
about,
I know. I'm just like,
no, but you guys have so much wisdom now.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
and you
I'm
learned
like,
it together. Like,
yeah.
that's
there was
really
no.
cool.
It's so weird looking back because we both are not. I was not marriage material.
Heck
If I'm
no.
looking at this list here, no, I'm not it. I'm not.
No, and I've
What
told
you have
my
no
children.
business dating me.
I've told my kids, you know, where I am now, looking at the person that he was then, I never would have looked twice at
Yeah.
him because I've learned so much. I
That's
mean, like I
crazy.
said, we've grown together, you know.
It's
And
just the
that's
grace of God, too.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say you can see God's hand all over
Yeah.
your relationship because
All
you guys
over.
look at it and you go, "This should not have happened. We should not be where
Yeah.
we're at right now.
But
None
God.
of this. The only reason you have is God."
Absolutely. And we can take what we've learned and give it to our children.
Exactly.
Because that's the way I raised Delory.
Yeah.
And the first person that she gave her virginity to was her. Oh, yeah, no. There were times where she brought people home. She brought people home. And like she was sitting right here or she was like, be like where Byron is and the guy would be here. And I would look at Delory and I would be like, I would move not it, you know. And I did the same thing for Bentley when he brought a girl home, and I was like, dude, she does not fit. Yeah. She is not it. Yeah. And he was like, I love her. I love her. This is the one. And I'm like, dude, she doesn't fit in our family. We have this thing where we call it the dice team. Yeah. And you have to be on the dice team or you're not it. Yeah. And this one was not. And she's batting for the other team.
Sometimes boys will try to get you off the dice team.
Oh, dude, that is so.
You know what I'm saying? True. And when that happens, you gotta navigate that very carefully.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because that happened with Delory. There was a guy, and he tried to, and I told Delory, I was like, he is not on the dice team. He's
because if he feeds you information and you don't approach it correctly, she's going to look at you as the enemy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
well, and not only that with a potential spouse, with friends. Yeah. Because we have a very dear friend, and she's been a friend of the family for years and years and years. But when she was little and she was playing with my kids, she told my kids, your mom is mean. And my kids, of course, they told me. Yeah. And I took her aside and I said, don't you ever try to get my kids to be on your team. Yeah. By trying to pit them against me.
That is one of my observations too. Yeah. It was I wrote
Number
down
5.
What your family thinks about who you're with is important. Yeah. What your close inner circle of friends think about who you're with is also important. They're not the ones with potential blinders on. So ask them for their honest feedback and believe them. I never asked my family for their input on my ex-husband. And I think probably on just some subconscious level, I knew that they would try and tell me not to. But then like once I had filed for divorce and I had moved out and stuff, and sold my house, and I remember telling my parents, like, why didn't you guys ever say anything? Why didn't you do this? Whatever. And they just looked at me and they were like, what were we supposed to have done? Do you honestly think that you would have listened to us? Like, can you sit here and look at us and tell us you would honestly have received that? And I was like, I don't really know, actually. I don't know if I would have been in a position to.
See, that's what I'm going to lay it out there with my kids.
Yeah.
Dude, I'll lay it out
so
there.
Important. It's so important.
Yeah.
And I think too, sometimes kids don't know how to ask either too. Like in that flip side of I'm in this, I feel this. Yep. Cause like I want my parents' blessing and permission, but like sometimes I think that can almost even feel a little bit like, well, what do you guys think? Like it can just feel weird versus being like, all right, let's look at it
where's
together.
Where's my individuality in this?
Yeah, because it's like,
why am I getting other opinions on what I know to be right?
Yeah.
Well, like I was saying with Bentley, now he was like, dang, Mom, you're so right. I'm going to listen to you, and I'm like, he's not going to.
No, but
at least
the next time it happens, he'll go,
think about
she's right.
Give it a little bit more thought.
The one before that, number 4 that I had said was, and I was kind of touching on this a little bit earlier, was like, it's important to see who you're with, experience. Oh, there's phases. Important phases to see the person that you're with experience to help determine whether they are marriage material. And then I just wrote down some examples, which was when there's physical distance between you for a period of time, when he's experienced loss, when he's experienced a joyful or happy time, his relationship with his parents and mother, when and if his job changes, how he interacts with strangers, whether he's reliable and does what he says, how he handles conflict with you and or others, and whether he's gone through therapy and or is open to it. I had the unique blessing to experience and see all of those things in the year that I was dating my husband.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was pretty remarkable. Like just one thing after another. The poor guy was just
kind of put through a ringer for a little
yeah.
bit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh my gosh. Okay. Well, Lord, thank you for giving me a front row seat to this. I felt horrible, but at the same time, I was really grateful too, because it was a really, really great way for me to just watch his character. And, you know, because that kind of thing you can't fake. And there's manipulative people out there, and that they're really great at faking things. And then he went through so many situations where it was like, well, you really can't, because he got blindsided by quite a lot of things.
Yeah.
And then another one was, this one I'm kind of like, I'm realizing this as we have gotten married and gotten closer or whatever. But God will use my spouse to continue to heal me. And I kind of knew this before, because I remember at some point talking with you, Maria, where I was like, I know that there's things that are going on in my heart that need to be healed that I'm probably not aware of. And I know that at some point my spouse is going to unearth that in some way.
Or it's like that, like, I feel great. I've healed a ton on my own. I'm good. I'm content. But then you bring somebody else into a situation when you've had terrible divorce. It's like, oh, now I have to trust again. Now I have to, like, what's going to happen when things get hard? Are they going to leave? Like, you're now having to face all these things that.
Yeah. And the note that I put was just, I'll be triggered by my past trauma just by being in relationship with this person. He will unintentionally press on old wounds. And when that happens, I will bring it up and have a conversation with him. And I also have a conversation with God about it too, because a lot of times I've been like, Lord, this it's not what I thought. Or because sometimes it's like I'll react in a certain way and he points it out and I'm like, oh my gosh, sorry. Jeez, didn't mean to do that. And he's like, I'm not your ex, okay? And I'm like, oh, I'm really sorry.
But that's what you have as the next one is my husband is not my ex.
He is not my ex.
Yeah.
There have been several occasions where, as I said, something would happen and I'd brace myself for Mauricio's response. And it ends up being the opposite of how my ex would respond, which would be with maturity, gentleness, and reassurance. There have been other times where I would make assumptions about how Mauricio would respond to something, and I'd anticipate him responding like my ex would. And then I would try and like get ahead of it by, lashing out or saying or doing something weird or out of character, which has so far always resulted in a deeper conversation being had, because he'll like, all right, we got to sit down and talk about this. What is really going on
Like,
here?
there's something else deeper here.
Yeah.
Like,
and the fact that he, God bless him for having been through therapy and stuff, because I think that has also, I've talked about that a lot. Like, therapy helps you so much become like more self-aware.
Yeah.
But the fact that like that helped, I know that has like helped him like sort of see that and kind of draw some things out of me too, where he's been like, all right, you're not really reacting in this way because you're reacting toward me. Like, what do we need to talk about? I'm like, I don't know.
Actually, it could be a lot of things.
Yeah. And then I have two more. And, that one's a long one. Okay. Number 9 was I need to make a daily decision to prioritize my relationship with Christ and not allow my spouse to take that position. So I was doing some digging in my journal. And in July of 2024, I wrote down, Maryl, you can be consumed by me. And this was a thought, like a download from what I believe to be the Holy Spirit. The Lord was telling me was, Maryl, you can be consumed by me and what I have for you, or you can be consumed by your relationship with Mauricio. And then I just wrote down that I've been in a weird place mentally and emotionally. I've been allowing past hurt to dictate how I'm to behave in this relationship by projecting my past onto him. And so therefore putting him in a place elevated higher than where God should be. So that was something I felt God had been impressing upon me. And it turns out we were both going through that. And so one time we were talking before we got married, and Mauricio told me that he noticed I hadn't smiled in a while, that he wants me to be happy, and he was doing all he could, and it didn't feel like he was making me happy. And I told him, I was like, that is not your responsibility. Like I lost my spot. Wow. It's not your responsibility to make me happy, and you would do well to not put yourself in a position that elevates me above your relationship with God. and that you should be going to God, since God's the one who created me, and ask him how to love me and how to interact with me in a way that I'll receive it best. And I told him that also, like, and I'm only telling you this because that is something that I'm endeavoring to do, because I had said to him, maybe I'll be reading it in a second. No, it doesn't look like it. But I had said to him too, like, that's been something I've been trying to do. I'm making sure that I am praying and I'm asking God about you, because he made you uniquely and he knows how you respond to things. And I need to be checking with him on how to treat his son, because that is not, like, I don't know his heart. God does. And so, another part from my journal, I said, I began to pray about balancing all of that. And it was like the Holy Spirit had said to me, that is the balance. So your relationship with God and what he has for you should and must come before your spouse, or for people who are single, that needs to come before your future spouse. That is the balance, and to keep his order, like to just keep that order. Like that's a very simple, seems simple, but it's really easy to screw up. It's a really simple order. I can pray for Mauricio, and I should, but I need to pray and let it go, and not pray and then let my concerns consume me. So I bring favor when I'm being obedient to God's call over my life, and God cannot bring favor to my spouse if I'm putting my spouse ahead of my relationship with God via being consumed over past hurt and overthinking about all of that. And that just like hit me like a ton of bricks. It was like, oh, okay, yeah. Like, Maria, you and I were talking about this not too long ago. Also, just about being, what I think it was Pastor Jerry Flowers called being a favor bearer. Women are favor bearers. And so you bring favor to your husband. You bring favor. And so if you expect him to be receiving that favor, then you can't be putting him ahead of God.
Of God, yeah. You missed 8, by the way.
I did?
Yeah.
What was 8?
That you can trust God with your relationship.
Oh, yeah. My previous marriage and other dating relationships were all on me. So once all of that went away, of course, I had questions for God. I often catch myself acting as though I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, as they say, waiting for my husband to wise up to my age, or that I'm not a good person, or that I'm not worth being married to. But that is a lie from the pit of hell, and something I have to battle in my mind almost daily. So I have to look at a lot of aspects of our relationship, like you guys were saying. Like there's things about the way you guys got together, the way that you found Christ together, and things like that don't make any sense whatsoever. Yeah. And I tend to look at my relationship and I'm like, there's no way we should. He's from another country even, and like just the circumstances of how he even wound up in Kansas City is just wild. Of all places. And it's funny because I just think about like the night that we met and stuff, like how random it was. So
to you,
to me.
Where's he from?
He's from Mexico.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's from Chihuahua. And then
you're on 10.
Number 10. Okay, do premarital counseling was my last thing, because I was like, well, I had 9 things, and I go, I just need to round it out with a 10.
Yeah.
My husband and I both knew that we wanted marriage, and so we decided that we would express our interest in some counseling from our pastor before we got engaged, with the understanding that if there was something we couldn't resolve, work on, or get past, then we wouldn't even need to get engaged. So that's why I was saying earlier, I was like, yeah, we did the whole premarital counseling before even that, because it's kind of like, well, I hadn't even gotten a ring yet. So it's like, why don't we see how this goes first? Let's see, some moderated, heavy conversation. And, if that goes okay, then I think we'll be on a good foot, So that program was 7 weeks. It was supposed to be 6, but it got pushed back because we were dinking around. And when I went into it thinking there was potential for us to not even get engaged, and then but what I learned like throughout that process was to have a series of guided conversations about really difficult and some not so difficult things, like expectations on finances, sex, daily home duties. I didn't even think about that, but that was a great conversation that we had. Was just like something as simple as because I certainly didn't have this conversation with my ex-husband. Like, who do you expect to take the trash out every day?
Yeah.
And we had to fill out like these like personality things first, kind of. And one of the sections that I found to be really interesting was like, it asked what your parents did and then what you expect out of your spouse. And so, and then it kind of compared your answers to that. And it was just interesting to see how that stuff sort of lined up. But then we talked about kids, our familial relationships and boundaries, and then, what areas may be more challenging than others. And so
those are great.
I think we could go through some postmarital counseling.
I was going to say.
Totally could.
Need to.
Not pre, because
You totally could.
I'm like, because
You also have a touch base.
right.
No, I've always been a
Post-marriage.
I think postmarital counseling is a great thing. It's like a third party mediator to help. Like,
I know people that regularly do marital counseling.
I think it's a great thing.
They're just in marriage counseling just because, phases in life, things get freaking hard. It's like you have a baby and
life
then
changes, seasons change.
Yeah. And even with that in and of itself, it's like, your marriage isn't the same once you start having kids. And then once your kids get to like they're not babies anymore, they're mobile, and now they're talking back, and like all those things that happen, and neither you nor your spouse have ever experienced that before. And then things change with your own jobs and stuff like that, and who's
Start a business.
you guys have
but
gone
it's like
through a
it's
lot of
whole
stuff.
I'm just I don't know if this is just my personality or I'm flawed. I don't know. I'll go on this autopilot, and I'm just on autopilot, and I'll completely forget the things that are important to Susan. Like, she wants a partner in this space.
But you're busy completing tasks.
Just whatever. I just get on autopilot and I just completely blank out and just, forget everything, thinking I'm just going through life doing whatever, all the minutia. And then she'll have to remind me, and then it turns into oh my gosh, I'm a piece of crap husband. So I got to do better, that kind of conversation. So, and I'm like, wow, how did I even get here?
I think that's very common.
I think it's very common, especially for men too. I think that's a very common thing.
Oh, okay. So I'm not weird.
No, I don't think so.
What would you?
But Susan don't like it still.
Right.
I don't think any wife I've
very
ever
quiet.
had.
I'm very quiet over here. I'm just saying.
Do you guys have any advice for
Lord.
our listeners, just from what you've learned over the past years, that you can think of?
Advice?
Yeah. Dating marriage advice?
Oh, I have a question. It's kind of related to that, but
okay,
maybe,
we'll
maybe
ask
this
it,
can
and that
help.
might help. Yeah,
that might help answer your question. But I
Find
was
Jesus.
thinking, what is something that you didn't expect in marriage that you would tell somebody? Because this is from the foundation of somebody thinking that marriage is going to be a walk in the park. Like,
we love each other. It's fine.
We just need love.
Yeah.
That's all.
I'm going to have to say the main thing that I have to constantly come back around to is loving unconditionally. Like, just sacrifice. Even you have to sacrifice your own, attitude and your own, I want things my way.
Mm-hmm.
And because I remember there was a time where we had gotten into it. And when I say we got into it, I got into it and Byron just kind of sat there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because he doesn't yell at me. I'm the mean one.
Mr. Grinch.
I'm the mean one. He's the nice one. And I know that. I've come to terms with that. I am the mean one. But I was just like so mad at him, just like, oh God, so stupid, and raging. Like I've gotten my temper under control now, a lot better.
Yeah, you're a lot better. Yeah.
Yeah, but like just raging so mad, and then God just like really got all over me, and I had to. I went to him and I was like, "Do you want me to rub your back?" And I did not want to.
I don't want to do this
like,
at all.
I wanted to just like be in anger and like hate toward him, but I went and I was like, I'll rub your back, and it was weird. I don't know why. That's just what God directed me to do. And then he was just like, I'm sorry, it was just like, it was just a moment where I was like, but I think you just having to choose to love just unconditionally.
Yeah.
Period. Unconditional love. It's not about what he can do for me.
Yeah.
It's about me choosing to love him no matter what, with all the flaws, with all everything that he does to piss me off.
Yeah.
Choosing to go back to that love unconditionally. And I tell myself all the time, I only have eyes for my husband.
Yeah.
That's good.
Those are two things that I always come back around to.
Wow.
Because, think about it. There's so many people I see that get married, and they get married because of how their spouse makes them feel. And then when your spouse doesn't make you feel like that anymore,
they're like, I'm out.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's,
you chase that feeling.
yeah. And there's so many, like I look at Byron's dad, and he was married to Byron's mom, and she had a stroke, and he loved her like so unconditionally and took care of her, and it's just like, if you think about the end game and getting to that point to where you're, grow old together, there's going to come a time where you're going to have to do some things, take care of the other person, maybe wipe their butt. I don't know,
Yeah.
For real though.
But that's unconditional love. And that's the kind of love that Jesus loves us with, completely and totally unconditional. When I tell you, I know that my husband loves me unconditionally, I know that.
Yeah.
I know he loves me completely and totally unconditional. There are times where I feel like I have conditions on our love because I'm a acts of service person.
We are the same.
Oh,
And Byron doesn't do acts of service at all.
that's
it's
a
like,
struggle, bro.
that has been the main struggle our whole
Service,
entire
man. I'm
marriage.
like,
Yeah.
He's not an acts of service person.
Mauricio was texting me before this, and he was like, "Let me know when you're leaving, and I'll start a pizza." And I was like, "See,
Like, that's all it takes.
I
dude,
love him.
That's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
it's the tiniest little things like that,
Right.
Byron."
Okay.
Yeah. He still hasn't.
So
But see,
tonight,
that's
don't
probably
shoot
na-
Susan a text. Hey,
that's
right now,
natural,
let me know
though.
when you're done.
Is he working on that, or is that him? See, that's something I would have to like. Okay, I gotta. Is it
I have
make a list? How do you get there?
That's a great question.
Is that something you like strive to do to make the other one feel better?
Yeah, it's called being intentional.
Okay.
Mhm. And Byron is not intentional. Like he said, he gets on.
Sorry to
just
Wow.
just throw that at
Yeah,
you.
on autopilot over here, bro.
yeah.
I'm just.
Gotcha, Susan.
We need
I was like, I
counseling.
got your
Yeah,
back.
can we not?
But that's the part of it, though. I mean, like, it's
Yeah.
remembering. It's like what you're saying about being sacrificial, and also, without saying it, but like extending grace. You have to just extend a boatload of grace. And I definitely didn't do that in my first marriage. I built a ton of resentment and became a very resentful person. And I was just not kind. And just remembering, I mean, we're barely even getting started in this journey, but I already know, like, in the back of my mind, it's like I'm gonna have to be reminding myself a lot of things like that. That's like, do not forget, like,
Right.
you have to extend grace. This is not about you anymore. You had your time being single, and guess what? Now it's not about you, just you anymore. So
Yeah.
I think that's gonna be like one of the hardest parts, is adjusting to that.
Well, I heard a pastor once say, you become, or like in a wedding, like, yes, you become one in that moment, but it takes 30, 40, 50 years to actually like become one. So you get married in a moment, but that's what it was.
Oh, wow.
You get married in a moment, but you become one over time. And I
Yeah,
just thought that
that's
was
good.
really cool in that way of like, it's years of taking the differences and blending them together. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm gonna defer the advice to Susan.
Because
Yeah,
they're
that
great.
was a good one. Yeah, I'm just gonna hang on that because I'm her partner.
You're a partner, and you're one.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
her answer is your answer.
And right. So find
good.
Jesus.
Find Jesus.
That's-
That's at the end of
that's
it.
the
That's the
glue.
big overall
Yeah.
overarching piece.
You want to know how to treat your spouse? My gosh, get your nose in the Bible.
Yeah.
Get to reading because it's all in there.
right there.
I'm speaking to myself too. So,
Amen.
yeah.
Right?
Thank you guys so much
Yes.
for joining us.
Oh, thanks for
so
sharing
glad
your
you came
journey,
on.
your marriage journey.
Well,
The
thank you.
Congratulations.
It's only just started.
Right,
Next is Maria.
guys. Woo!
She's up.
That's
She's
the
up
next
now.
Batter
journey.
up.
Yes.
Your time of singleness
All
is
right.
coming to an end.
Yes. All right.
Speaking that over your life.
Thanks.
Mhm.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.